What happens after the season's not their fault.
They're in trouble.
Sunday, PJ Tucker got a Father's Day card from KD. You can't keep trying to put Chris Paul somewhere where he can't win. We're done with it. It's 2021.
I love him. I'm in.
Welcome back to another exciting episode of Please Dunk Responsibly. I'm Ben Rice. With me as always, my co-host,
Bill Webster. Craziness today.
Madness.
Amazing.
So
great playoff basketball, man.
Yeah.
At its best.
We are here to preview the Eastern Conference Finals, recap the first two games of the Western Conference Finals, and also recap the end of the semifinals on both sides. Is that the thing it's called?
Yeah, we got a lot to get to.
We have no time.
No time, but a lot to get to. We're going to try to cram it all in, but pretty much as we've seen it, we're starting to partake. Bucks Nets was a crazy series.
Oh my God.
Probably one of the better series going on, and so much back and forth, so much Durant. So much Middleton, who was the true MVP in our lives.
Just go back in time. He deserves 2 MVPs retroactively.
Oh, easy. Yeah, you owe him one. You know who the true MVP
Giannis,
is.
just pick one and hand it to Chris. Just be like, this one's yours.
Just hand one down. Yeah, I hope he's already mailed it.
Yeah.
But he should have.
When they win the championship, he'll probably be like, I'd like to say that Chris Middleton was the MVP 2018-2019.
Yeah, I mean, we know why he got paid first. We were probably one of the first to really bring that up on why. I don't think a lot of people were just like, why did he get paid? Because it was Milwaukee and nobody knows what's going on in Milwaukee. But that dude got paid for a reason because they got him at a bargain, for what that dude is worth to that team. Takes the clutch shots, is down to go for it towards the end. Went head-to-head with Durant a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Giannis didn't even really guard him down the stretch, which I thought was really surprising.
I thought it was not
but not at the same time, considering how much I bag on him and crap in his cake. He does not normally show up in those moments, But yeah, I thought because he's played such good defense with Durant that they would have went to him, but I was really surprised that they just let Durant shoot.
No. I think what happened is on Sunday, after the Saturday's game on Sunday, PJ Tucker got a Father's Day card from KD. That's what I think happened.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's why you bring PJ Tucker in. And obviously, Game 7 was incredible. He fouls out of the game in the last seconds. They do a switch. I think Giannis starts guarding him out the stretch, and then they did a switch, an easy switch. Durant, which got him the shot, basically to send it into overtime. He tried to take a slightly deeper shot, which I thought was a bad idea, but he's Durant. He's carte blanche now. He made it. He carried him all the way this far. Nobody's gonna truly bag him besides me or Durant haters for how bad that shot was. But he took a turnaround 3 at the top, pretty much at the top. You could tell everybody was exhausted. It was a terrible overtime because nobody could get any shots up. They really didn't substitute anybody. They just let those guys in, and it was it came down to him and Giannis kind of making some crumble type 3 layups to get scores, and then down the stretch it was just free throws for the Bucks.
Nothing left. That's the best part about the playoffs, but it's also the worst part is everybody gives everything, and that overtime was a disaster. Really, it was just who had 1 extra inch of jump left in them, and that was it. Who could? No,
right. I mean, it was going to come down to whoever made the last shot, we thought, or free throws as it was going down the stretch. There was just brick after brick after brick by everybody.
6-2 overtime score.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, Durant really put it all out there. There's nothing I can give him but credit. But I still hate that, this team, the Nets, like went out and just kind of I thought like overkilled with Harden and Irving. I don't think they really needed them both, but clearly they did. But I mean, nobody wins these the first year. I think we kind of talked about that little jinx. Usually it takes a year to get all that stuff together, no matter how good they look. We talked also about like the fact that they had only played like 9 games at full strength together, at least with all 3 of them. You lack depth when you do this. They didn't even have Dinwiddie because he was hurt for the rest of the season. They really could have used depth at another scorer, but you don't think you're going to lose Kyrie. You don't think you're going to lose Harden like that. But those guys failed down the stretch by themselves in revisionist history. This is why they always try to work with other superstars down the stretch. And that's just the NBA now. And everybody, again, wants to blame LeBron, but I think it's a fact of how good the NBA is now and how much you have to score. Also takes a lot out of you down the stretch. Because, again, we've had teams where we thought, like, Houston with Chris Paul and Harden were going to get it done. Failed, got hurt. Somebody got hurt down the stretch. Harden had nothing in Game 7 or 6, and then basically get smoked out of the building by the Warriors. But yeah, just time and time again. But that was a great series. Hats off to both teams. But the Bucks move on, and they get to play
the winner of 76ers Hawks, a series that was a fucking disaster. Like, here's the thing, that basketball can be beautiful and powerful and like full of just fancy gems and great defense and even better offense, and then there's just this disgusting pile of garbage that was 76ers Hawks. I talked about it last episode. The 76ers make other teams boring.
They make the 76ers are boring. The 76ers are the team you wanted like 5 years ago. Like they're the team to have before the Warriors run. Like you could have went up against a LeBron James and stuff like that with this kind of skill and slow down playoff basketball. But with them, like they don't have enough scoring. Yeah, exactly. They would have been right out there with the Detroit Pistons and all those.
With all those 86 to 79 games that were happening. That's not the NBA anymore. We don't do that. We don't do that here. Hey,
it's not.
We don't do that here.
And they just, they have no shooting down the stretch, clearly. Ben Simmons is a head case. I, again, don't think you get rid of him. Even though it's surprising to me, which we haven't even gotten to yet, Boston and the things that they do. It looks like they're kind of blowing it up. But I don't know if you blow this up yet. Like Morey seems to say you don't, but we didn't even finish the game. But clearly, the 76ers did not fare well.
No. All right. If you were the 76ers, would you rather, if you had a time machine, go back and trade Ben Simmons instead of Markelle Fultz? Which would you do?
Oh man, now? I feel like you're kind of screwed either way. Like, I feel like, that's kind of the point I think you're trying to make. Is that does tanking work? Is the ultimate
No. You got a bet.
question.
Do you want 2 years of Ben Simmons being a coward in the playoffs, or a year and a half of Markelle Fultz being injured but having refound his shot and confidence? Which one do you want?
I feel that you would have more. You would have more.
The future's still the same for both of them. However it goes from here.
You would have more hope with Fultz because you would just blame bad luck.
But he was a head case too, who had no shot.
It's an easier person to say that's fixable because you're saying there's potential. I think the fact that it's 3 years of Ben Simmons that we've been saying, like, all this guy needs is a shot, and he has yet to develop one, or when he has one, he doesn't use it. He's afraid. It seems like, again, he tries anything he can not to. and it's bad. And I don't know. I mean, I don't think you give up on a 23-year-old like that. Like, I don't think you. Like, I think it was easy to give up on Fultz when you have so many 23-year-old point guards on your team. That's again what happened with Boston. You have embarrassment of riches, and then you have the other problem of which one do you get rid of in order to make it work. And Boston held on to both, held their cards, dealt Hayward. In doing so, they were able to get a point guard that's been really effective for them. Kyrie had like basically one half of season really good. Kemba Walker had a really good one season with them and then got like just disappeared. So what do you like? What do you do here? I mean, I think you trade Ben Simmons. Would I take him on the Kings for if they asked me for Halliburton or Fox? No. I would
not
rather.
In a million years.
But would like you talked about? Do the Blazers take a chance?
Maybe.
Do the Blazers take a chance when they have Carmelo and Lillard? And now you maybe have a bigger guy who can kind of slow it down.
Yeah.
But again,
it ruins my dream of Sabonis in Portland. But
that's true. That's really what you wanted.
I really did. But I mean, I would be fine with that. That's the thing that makes the most sense to me. Give them both a new place to be. Take the pressure off Ben Simmons in Portland. He's the fourth person anyway. In Philadelphia, he's expected to be the number one, number two guy, and he clearly isn't that. And you give CJ McCollum a chance to be that number one guy, maybe number two guy without as much overlap as he has with Lillard, where it's like, well, yeah, you're number two, but like you're pretty much the same as the number one guy, but not as good. Like him and Joel Embiid would have a lot more to play off each other with. So I think it would be good for both of them.
Yes. Like, I mean, again, we're not crapping on them completely. They were the number one seed. Like, they're great. They're a great team.
No.
But again, like we talked about in the playoffs.
By the way, Doc Rivers gave up by game 6. If you watch him on the bench, he was just slumped. Doc Rivers was not coaching.
Well, it's again where a team can actually come at you defensively a certain way and just dare this other person to beat you. Yeah, of course. Like, why do you think Embiid had like 8 turnovers? Like, because they were forcing the ball to him. He felt like he had no choice but to try to make a play because he's the only one who can really score points. He's making turnovers. They're going the other way. They're getting easy shots, especially after Game 6. Obviously, that collapse was historically terrible to watch. It was just 2-pointers after layups, after bricks, going down the other way. Ice Trey Young slowly taking over. I love him. I love him. I'm in. I bought in.
Yeah.
He's better to watch. I like that team.
They better win
my boy.
They better win it because I don't think next year they're getting to that.
No, I don't think any of these teams like this is part of what we were kind of talking about in the last episode.
The Hawks have to at least make the finals because otherwise just be like, oh, they let us down. Next year they only made it to the first round of the playoffs. It got bounced because I just don't think they're ready. They shouldn't be where they are.
They shouldn't be where they are, but they're the Heat, right? They're the Heat of last year.
Yeah.
They're overperforming. They got the luck of the draw.
They're going to get shit talked for how bad they do next year, and then
they got the Knicks. And do they think they got the easiest road? Like they probably got one of the easiest roads, right? Getting the Knicks, getting
the Sixers.
Like
the 2 star-crossed teams.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing they could have got better was like Boston, but they were lower seed.
Oh no, I think Boston would have trounced them. I think Boston.
You think so?
To trounce those guys, yeah, because they know they're better. And the problem is the Knicks know that they are jinxed, and the 76ers know that they are jinxed. I think the Celtics would be like, no, we're the fucking Celtics. We're losing to the Hawks right now. We don't do that here.
Yeah.
But,
oh man,
what a mess!
They're a mess.
It's a mess.
Yeah, they're a mess.
The Hawks deserve it, and I hope they do very well against the Bucks.
They do. They made the right move. The subtle move, getting Bogdanovich from the Kings after the botched. We'll see if that comes back to bite the Bucks now. This could be the Bogdanovich factor, the bogey factor, coming from a Kings fan who's rooting for him. The Bucks were that close to getting him. The ghost of David Stern said, "Nah, and
I watched a video this week about like shitty free agent signings and stuff that's gone wrong in them, and they're like, here's like the times when people bailed on their free agent promises, and the same agent that Bogdanovich has is involved with 3 of the 4 they talked about. He always has his players commit, then walk away, and like uses subterfuge over and over again. And I'm like, who wants
to
this
get
guy
the
as an
better
agent?
deal?
Yeah, but it's never good for the team. It's never good for the player long term. It's always worked out poorly. They get a little bit more money, but they don't get the success. Anyway, that was weird. It's like, oh, okay, that
was weird too, because I wouldn't have thought the Hawks would have given him 4 years after that. I kind of thought like that was going to be like a 1-year deal. Like he was going to lose out on this like a commitment to get like a 1-year deal just to not be in Sacramento.
Yeah.
But they got a ton of shooting on the Hawks.
For days.
They got Bogdanovich, Herter out of nowhere, who they wanted Bogdanovich to be, carried him in Game 7, like when Trey could not hit the side of a barn, like down the stretch. But again, he's been giving so much. He's a facilitator, you know, like he's what Devin Booker was on the Suns without Chris Paul. But now it seems, as you see now, as we're going to get to those games, as he's elevated now that he's had to do it without Paul, you've seen him like really kind of just start to take over and be the guy and still win games, not just score points, but actually
lead his team.
Decent play. Yeah, lead his team, facilitate, get people better. But first we had to find out, because we knew the Suns had made it because they had swept. So who were they going to play next?
The Jazz or the Clippers?
The Jazz or the Clippers.
Defense versus 2 inconsistent small forwards trying to play at the same time with a bag of garbage, junk drawer players versus a bunch of players that could shoot and pass and defend, but not all at once.
And defend. Who would have won?
Who would win the game?
The Clippers of all teams.
Without Kawhi,
Paul George. Without Kawhi, yes, the Clippers turned it on. Paul George became his alter ego, finally, which he can do. He, like, again, a clock is right twice, you know, even when it's dead. He is a great player down the stretch. He's been, like, when they needed him the most. I mean, obviously he had fantastic help from Reggie Jackson, who
Terrence
again
Mann
was a top scorer. Terrence Mann, who needed to step up big time. But Paul George will get the credit because he's the number one. But they're gonna have a tough time with the Phoenix Suns without Kawhi, because I feel like even without Paul George, even without Chris Paul, I mean, for the Suns, I feel like now Devin Booker and them know what to do a little bit more than I feel like the Clippers know what to do. I think the Clippers are just stuck with throwing spaghetti every single time, and then they just go with Kawhi. Like, Kawhi just take over, or Paul George just start shooting threes.
Like in Game 7, Terrence Mann went off for 29 points. And he starts Game 1 against the Suns. Game 2, no longer starting. He just saved your team. Now he's on the bench again.
They're
just like, we don't know. We don't know what to do. We'll figure. We'll play what we think works.
Trying to do matchups. Yeah, it's like there's no consistency. There's no, he played really well, let's give him more minutes. It's
he played poorly for 2 seconds.
We're going to try what we did last time. Yeah, we're going to try it again.
Luke Kennard blew a few defensive assignments in the first half of Game 1 and didn't play the rest of the game, and then he's there in crunch time today. What the fuck are they doing?
Yes, giving him a big deal too. Like, what are you doing? Like, what's your plan here? There is no plan. That is the plan of the Clippers, and that's why it's really hard to get behind them, because, again, they're what? They're like the DC to Marvel, I guess, is the superhero movies. It's like, I know, we'll do the same thing as you did. We'll just get 2 superstars and put them together. Like, we're gonna be better. And it's like, no, you you're missing the plot. You're missing all the little pieces that you do get to hit big shots, to do other things. You need a whole team. And they don't seem to do that. Like, they just get these collection of parts and hope that they just work, and they don't, because you have these personalities of guys who were big on crappy teams, and you're like, oh yeah, come here and win a championship, when it's like, no, they don't have that mentality. They don't have that mentality to like play off the bench and like just score 15 and then not even be the guy, like necessarily like play through a system. So I don't enjoy it. They're not looking good. It seems like the Phoenix Suns have arrived. They seem like they're the team. Maybe I would have thought one more year, but they're here. Again, it helps that most of everybody was hurt in the West. But the West is that, man, this young West is going to be like insane. Yeah,
and I would like to keep my comparison to the Clippers going when I said that they have a bunch of players in the junk drawer. It's kind of like when you're trying to open a jar and you can't open it. That's the Clippers are. They're a jar they can't open, and they go in the junk drawer like, oh, we got that little thing that has a gripper, and you try to open it, and that doesn't work. You're like, all right, let's try a towel, and that's not working. You're like, I don't know, does a can opener work on a jar?
Yeah, do we have a pair of rubber gloves?
Yeah, we're just doing everything we can. Like, does this work? Does this open the jar? And they're like, nah, man, the jar opener is the only person here strong enough to open the jar is Kawhi Leonard, and you don't have him right now. You lost Kawhi Leonard. Go find Kawhi Leonard. I thought he was in the drawer, but he's not in the drawer.
No. And you've been saving him all this time, resting him and stuff like that for these kinds of moments. I would assume he plays Game 3, unless they're just being very, very
they have to bring him out,
forthcoming, and he's like got an ACL or MCL like type of injury. Like, I mean that was one of his things, like his biggest thing, and they had to treat him with glass because could be a free agent.
You can't force him on the floor; he won't do it.
You can't force him on the floor; he'll turn into the Spurs number 2, and then he'll he'll gone. You're done.
He knows his worth. But so we've got it. That's how we got here. Now we've got to make our predictions for the conference finals. So far, the Western Conference not really fair because we already know 2 games results. Suns 2-0. Playoff P showed up in full regalia at the end of the game there, bricking 2 free throws that could have put them up 3 with just a few seconds to go. Instead, leaving them up just 1.
Playoff P, doing playoff P type things. He was not great. He had 2 free throws to not ice it, but put him up 3. Bricks the first one. Bricks the second one.
I think missed on purpose. I think even I get it.
I'm in between. It
was a solid miss. Like, it was a real.
It was definitely a bad miss. It was either like you completely collapse or whatever. But he seemed really upset with himself.
Like, that's honestly one of the best missed free throws on purpose I've ever seen. If it was missed on purpose, it was like a shot, so it didn't do any weird ricochet. It gave you it was a struggle to get the rebound. It wasn't a guaranteed offensive bounce. It was a tough one to rebound. There was a fight. There was a scramble. It was a long rebound, but not so long. It didn't bounce at the front of the rim and be all weird to bounce. It didn't miss the rim, so that way it would be like, hey, dead ball, other team's ball. Like, it was one of the best missed free throws on purpose I've ever seen. It just didn't work out for him. And then
I told you that I felt like that was a harder shot to make than just making it.
Just make the shot. You're up 2.
We've seen people actually try to miss and make it.
That's always funny.
That is always funny down the street. But so down 1.
Just
in the last seconds of the game, they have a couple inbounds plays that didn't work, and then they got 0.9 seconds left for the Suns.
It's time for Is It the Goose?
Is it the goose? It might be the goose. Now again, I have trouble with this because is it goaltending?
No,
is it
not
goaltending?
Because it's not a live ball yet. The play is dead. It is not goaltending. It's not, because it's not a shot. It is a pass. It
can't be a shot because if it went in, it would have been illegal. It was not allowed.
So it's not goaltending. It's in the rule book. That's not goaltending.
It just looks It looks bad. It seems like why doesn't anybody else do
It's a
this?
real get out of jail free card.
I mean, it was a perfect pass.
Yeah.
It was a perfect pass.
I couldn't believe it. That angle was nearly impossible. He wasn't shooting it from the side. It was baseline that he was throwing.
No, right. And he kind of had to go over
DeMarcus Cousins.
It wasn't like a big
hands.
lob.
Yeah.
It was, And,
to perfectly time it. And
he didn't get that much higher than him.
No, he barely got there.
He got a couple fingertips on it.
Yeah, he had he had the last carpal over.
But Aton, the Grayton, came over the top and dunked it in the last second. He wasn't even for sure if it counted.
Yeah.
They kind of just let the time go off the clock as it was 0.9 seconds. It kind of just kept rolling, and then that was the game. And then Suns were up. And in those kind of situations, when that team plays that hard, that needs to win a game, usually if they don't win that close game, it usually doesn't sell good that they're gonna win game 3. I have now they're gonna have a couple days because they're gonna want them to kind of catch up with the Bucks and stuff. So they're gonna give them probably 3 days. I think is the next game, but they're in trouble. They're definitely in trouble unless they have a different strategy. Unless they have Kawhi back, even if he's at 70%, it's better. Or starting Terrence Mann, like you talked about, you have to do something different because Chris Paul's going to be back. They're almost positive Chris Paul's going to play in Thursday or get cleared on Thursday.
Take that, NBA. I know you tried. We know you tried.
Try.
We know you're
hey,
no.
they could do it again.
Pull him.
They could do it again. Don't make them do it again.
All right, fine. You can come back. But we thought this would be a gimme for these beat up Clippers if we just find some way to be Chris Paul came in contact with a guy with COVID, maybe, even though he only hangs out with his team and none of his other teammates are in the protocols.
They would have. I think if the Clippers had done their job and actually won a game or two, I think they would have felt a lot better about the NBA about their chances of shutting Chris Paul out and getting LA somehow still into the playoffs. They are going to hate the fact that the Phoenix Suns and the Milwaukee Bucks are going to make the finals.
Look here, NBA. We spent 15 months in our home learning. But the world that we lived in was a lie. And we're back. Yes. We're not going back to the old way of the Lakers and the Celtics and Pat Riley. No, it is time for Chris Paul to take down John Stockton, Magic Johnson, what's the guy from Bob Cousy. He's taking them all out. We all know it. We've been trying to pretend it's not true. Chris Paul's the greatest point guard of all time. And he's getting a championship, NBA. He's getting one. You can't
he deserves
keep trying to put Chris Paul somewhere where he can't win. We're done with it. It's 2021. This shit's done. 2020, 2021. He
has to be the most resilient guy ever. I don't know a guy who's been that good and played for that many different teams. It's a shame, but I'm glad for him. Yes, I'm hoping he gets his just due. I'm kind of sad, obviously, as a Kings fan, that you want this kind of thing. You want that veteran that could kind of put you over the top and make your young studs really blossom. But they're in the right place at the right times. Do I think they beat the Bucks? I don't know. It's a lot, but it's gonna be fun to see.
I just want to see him just
he's gonna shit on Giannis. You know he's going to shit on Giannis because Giannis he can't stop himself from blocking inevitable dunks. He can't. Those are where he shows up. That's how he gets 3 blocks a game.
My favorite thing that happened today, game 2, is in the fourth quarter, DeAndre Ayton had 12 points on 6 of 8 shooting. He was completely dominating. It's well, actually, by shooting 75% of the quarter, he actually lowered his field goal percentage for the playoffs. And then he ended up shooting 10 of 13 and actually improving. So he was actually better the rest of the game, technically speaking. But I was 10 of 13?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
And
3 out of 5 left.
That great quarter was actually subpar for him. That's how good he's been.
No, he is. He's played way more athletic than I thought he was, at least the first 2 years he was here. He seems like he's definitely round into shape. He's figured out, whether it's with Chris Paul or whatever, like just timing, where to be, how to get open, what to do with the ball quickly, make quick decisions. He's definitely up there. Yes, like he could definitely have been most improved player if they didn't already, kind of knock it out of the park this year. Like he's up there. He should be like number one or number two. He clearly makes that team really, really work, and they just know how to use a big man in a shooting league now.
Also, Monty Williams should have been coach of the year. All right.
Yes.
But Chris Paul MVP, Monty Williams, coach of the year, DeAndre Ayton, most improved player. Fuck you, Julius Randle. I know we all agreed that you were the guy, but now we're taking it back.
Right. It's just because you're in New York. If you were somewhere else, somebody would have cared.
So much promo. I think I sent you this text as we were watching the game. You probably don't agree with me. But I was like, hey, I'm watching this game, and I see this guy with tons of effort. He knows where to be every second of every game. He puts in the bucket when he needs to. He plays defense real hard, grabs rebounds. Cam Johnson is the next Kawhi Leonard. I'm saying it now. It is 10:27 p.m. on June 22nd, 2021. Mark it down. I've never been wrong.
Mark it down. He's never been wrong.
About an effort player who clearly has a skill set that allows them to get to the next level, but they're kind of under the, like, for me, what it told me that Kawhi Leonard was his Michael Jackson socks in the 2011 playoffs. That's how I knew Kawhi Leonard was going to be great. I'm like, Michael Jackson socks is Kawhi Jackson now. That's what I almost said.
Oh, yeah, no. Kawhi wears socks with sandals. Like, yeah. Kawhi is definitely, like, but no brainer. Like, he loves just playing basketball. So he's not about the frills. He's just really good at what he does. It is boring, unfortunately, for that. But so is Tim Duncan, and I think he did okay.
You watch a person who has effort and intelligence, and then you're like, once they figure out how to like really utilize their skills to the maximum, it's over. And that's what Kawhi did. He worked on his shot and got it from this thing that was abhorrent to look at to one of the best shooters in the league. I think Cam Johnson has the work ethic to put together his inside-out game. But
that'll just depend on him.
Now, I'm not saying he's going to get to Kawhi's level where he's like a top 3 player in the league, but I'm saying this dude,
he's a freak of nature.
The reason that the Suns will be good for a long time is going to be Cam Johnson supporting Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton and Chris Paul. And then when one of them leaves or when it gets injured, you're going to see Cam Johnson go fucking nuts. I'm calling it.
All right,
or a team sneaks him away and he becomes just dominant. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think also that could be part of the case is just the drive, right? Like if he feels like he's not getting enough play time,
but he's not going to do that. He's a teammate.
Yeah, he's a teammate. Yeah, I know. So it's like if he just works on it, because again, we knew Kawhi wasn't the greatest out of high school at anything or college, like where he played. It's like he was just really good defensively. He has really good big hands. He's like a Scottie Pippen in that way. Is that he's just a physical freak of nature, and that he just honed his skills because he doesn't do anything else. Like he has no personality. He doesn't like to go out he doesn't have any distractions. He loves basketball, and that's why it's turned Kawhi into who he is. And being, I guess, coached by Coach Popovich for years too doesn't hurt. But yeah, like I like to see where Cameron Jordan, where he goes. It's a little too early to tell for me, but I like the comparison. It's just, does he get that kind of drive? Like, cause some of his offense seems like it comes second nature. So it seems like it's easier to score for him than I feel like it was for Kawhi.
It is. He came out of college as a shooter. They didn't think he'd be a defender, and he's been a dynamite defender, dynamite rebounder, great passer.
Yeah, he might be like the reverse Kawhi and just get really good on defense because everything else comes so naturally. Yeah, and because he has a ton of offense already on his team, so he doesn't have to be the guy on a terrible team anymore. He has like 2 or 3 guys who can get the balls. So yeah, it'd be a good run. It's a good fit. Like again, you have an athletic point guard who can shoot, You basically have a point guard slash shooting guard who is a superstar. You got Aiden, who's an above average, a very athletic big man who can't quite shoot yet, but he's figured out ways again to get open and to make himself useful in a shooting, and and it's not all defense. I think stuff like where Gobert can't do it, he's just too slow, and where Embiid does it too much because he doesn't have anybody else. Is that during the regular season, people are just going to let you dunk on them. They're not going to give 100% effort, but in the playoffs, they're going to clamp down on you, make you make turnovers. We know where the ball's going down the stretch. We'll just stop it when we need to. And that's basically what they have. But with Phoenix right now, it's just like pick your poison. And Devin Booker has picked up that mid-range jumper from Chris Paul. He's lurked on ways which instead of just shooting threes, they're not getting super happy with that. He had some help from Cameron Payne tonight, and he looked really great. That team looks scary. Again, I love to see them and the Hawks. Just because I feel like they're very similar teams, and I feel like it would be 150 to 140 most games.
So fun.
It'd just be so much shooting. But I feel like it's going to be the Bucks. The Bucks are the most complete defensive team and offensive team. But we've also seen them do stuff where, I throw my hands up in the air. I don't know, but the Bucks should win this thing. I think it's going to be Bucks Suns and Bucks win. But if I was wrong, I wouldn't put my house on it.
I saw the Knicks were going to take down the Hawks. I saw the 76ers were going to take down the Hawks. I saw the Bucks were going to take down the Hawks. Look, the Hawks can fly. They're an apex predator. The Bucks get shot all the time. They run. They get their horns locked up at each other. They kind of forget what they're doing. They're just dumb. But this is a beer podcast, by the way.
We forgot about that. We didn't forget, but there's a lot of good basketball.
There's a lot of good basketball. We can't just be drinking beers out here. So I picked up Oak Park Brewing's Brewteenth Mango Pale Ale. It's a collaboration with Oak Park Brewing, Hella Coastal, Hunter's Point, and Full Circle Brewing. And it's also, I read this last second, it was also featuring the Pink Boots Hop Blend. So it was kind of like let's just put it in there and see what happens.
That's awesome.
It's obviously brewed for the Juneteenth event.
Which we just celebrated.
Only 5.8%. Look, it's kind of like we got the stuff lying around. Let's just let's make a beer out of it. Let's go.
And again, Oak Park. Shout out to Oak Park. They're not just doing that. They're making really, really thoughtful, really good beers. Really thoughtful on the marketing and the labeling, of course, to their communities and whatnot. But man, are they just making really, really good beers and just finding ways that help the community. They are, in my humble opinion, like the people's brewery. They are made me a fan. I'm rooting for them. They just do great stuff. And they make really tasty beer. So it doesn't hurt. You get a byproduct that's great on top of kindness and everything else that they do. So shout out to them.
Yeah, and it's actually a mixed 4-pack. There's 4 different beers by these 4 breweries, all featuring a different fruit as well. They just went nuts one day. They're like, what do we got? And let's throw some fruit on it, and we'll go. But if I was going to name that a beer, it's like, we got a bunch of stuff in here. Let's just figure out what it becomes. Cam Johnson. There we go. I did it.
There we go. Way to tie it back in.
Way to tie it all together. I don't think you're drinking anything, Phil. Is that true or false?
No, I am drinking. I'm drinking Zebra Pants by Bike Dog. They've done this collaboration with Sacramento Zoo before when they brought in a new animal. I think it was, I'd have to look it up again, but I think it was the Ipaku. And it's like, it looks like a zebra / deer. It's got stripes. It's a great beer, West Coast, kind of unfiltered, but delicious beer. easy to drink. It's fresh right now. I know they just canned it. I know they got some other stuff coming up too, that have been great. Yeah, it's a good time in the summertime to get some beer from Sacramento, man. Like, there's fresh beer everywhere. Get it. Support.
It's a terrible time to watch basketball in Sacramento, though.
Yes, it is.
None of it.
That season has yet to come.
That drought has been going on for so long.
Speaking of droughts.
Yeah. It's hot as shit around
hot as shit out here. God. Yes, if you didn't know by listening to this as your iPod is melting or whatever you're listening to. It's
10:35. I have an AC. I am sweating. It's terrible.
It is terrible. I have the AC on and it's 80 degrees in my house still.
No,
I don't know
what's going on. Your house is like, no, man, it's 73. Fuck you. I know what 73 feels like. This is not 73. You liar.
In a closet in my basement. Yeah. Yes, maybe.
You got me. Yeah. All right. So we've been putting off the thing that we don't want to talk about in depth. We've mentioned casually, discreetly, our picks for the Eastern Conference Finals, but we haven't really gone in depth on them. We've talked at great length about everything. We're like, we don't want to discuss this thing. It feels like the Bucks win this, but the Bucks are still the Bucks. The
Bucks are still the Bucks. They know how to
screw it up.
Yes, they do. Yes, too much good stuff. Yes, we love him.
I think it might trump. God, I got to stop using that word. It might beat out. Which is a complete opposite, obviously.
Yes.
It might beat out. A young upstart team that kind of relies on being streaky.
Yes,
but God, man.
I mean, I love them just because I feel like again they found out their roles on who should be what. Again, all these teams really have though. Like again, besides the Clippers, which we just say you just take a bag, shake it out, and see what Yahtzee, and you just hope that you hit. But they, Middleton's the guy that's going to shoot down the stretch, and he doesn't have to worry about Giannis wanting the ball down the stretch because he wants to be everything he can possibly be away from it besides rebounding it, and then he's going to throw it away immediately.
Well, I was just thinking about this, but real question on the Hawks. Who's guarding Giannis? Who do they have?
Yeah.
That they're putting on him?
They don't.
Clint Capella? I mean, are they putting Clint Capella on him?
You have to either put that big. Yeah, you can't. They're going to start
Danilo
Lopez.
Gallinari can hold up.
Yes, that's what they're going to do. That's what they're going to do.
John Collins, the guy who gets tossed around by point guards.
John Collins is so small. So small. He jumps out of the gym.
Yeah.
His dunk on Embiid could have been a goose.
It had not been for Aiden throwing down a game-winning dunk.
Yeah, that was
the
amazing.
one. It was just hanging out, wanted to be there. It was just there for the taking, and then just snatched out. If we'd done this yesterday, not
last
a question.
Minute. Yeah, yes, exactly. They're just too small. But again,
and then once you get somebody on Giannis, you're probably your most powerful defender. Now, who's taking Middleton?
Right.
Who's
taking Middleton? You're all exactly. None of your guys are big enough. Hooters not big enough. Bogdanovich's not big enough. They're good shooters, but they are terrible on defense. And like you said, all you have is Clint Capella. That's why I feel like they match up better with the Suns because that's basically who they have, and that's what I feel like the Suns are going to have the same trouble with. Is like, who the hell do you put Giannis on? Are you going to put Cam Johnson on him?
No,
sure,
I'm putting DeAndre Ayton on him, and I'm putting Cam Johnson on Kyle Middleton. Wow. Sorry, there's this musician, Carl Middleton.
Chris Middleton. But yes.
No, this is a musician. It's a whole thing.
Right. That's right. You were talking about the musician, Carl.
He's a vocalist in the UK. Anyway, one of the best metal vocalists you've never heard of. Okay, carrying on. Look, there's a lot going on. You can't. I've been listening to his music last week. It's not a good time to do that. Ben, just wait till basketball's over. You can't be getting all these Carls and Chris's mixed in. All right.
But trust me, am I rooting for Ice Tray and Bogdanovich a little bit? Of course.
Yeah.
And like I said, on paper, this should not be close. The Bucks should win in 5.
But the Bucks gonna buck.
But the Bucks are gonna buck. the Hawks are way better than we think. They figure out ways. They're crafty. He gets stuff up. As long as they keep the game close down the stretch, they can get some shots. We know that the Bucks again are gonna. They might shoot the lights out once or twice, but there's gonna be that game when the first two games where it's gonna be like they can't get anything to go down the stretch, and then Ice Train takes over, starts hitting some layups, and then somebody out of nowhere just hits a three and gets everybody back in the game, and it's a tie game. And then it comes down to Middleton and Giannis, and it's like, who you gonna go? And it's like, it's gonna be interesting, but I think Bucks in 5.
All right. I also feel like Bucks in 5. Gentleman's sweep.
Yes.
Let's just put money on.
Thanks for coming, Hawks, but maybe next year.
I think the Hawks ride high on game 1, and the Bucks are like, no, that was fun. No more. Here's the other thing. I said on this podcast before that Nate McMillan is a great coach to rally the troops. He's not a guy to lead them to the promised land, and that's going to suck because he rallied the troops harder than he ever has, and I know he can't do it again.
No,
and the Hawks are gonna
but that's his championship, right?
They're gonna make him the head coach officially. He's
beating the number 1 team.
He's a temp.
I know, but that's what he is, and they'll never. This is their peak. They beat the number 1 seed in 7 games, and now they got to beat another team that's even more complete, that's more veteran, that
coasted through
plays
the
well together, who's got a better coach. Yeah. It's just how it is. Like, no sense of Doc Rivers, but he just got there, and those aren't his kids. Like, he's got to build his team. That's not his team. This is going to be the Bucks championship to lose, because this might be their only chance at getting one. Just the same thing with Toronto that year. It's like, this is your year because the Warriors are out, are hurt, and all this stuff going on. It's like, get it while you can. Yep. And so I'm hoping they get it done. But again, would I be surprised if the Bucks win 6 or 7 with the Hawks? Because they would. They should dominate because they have the bigger, more physical team. But we'll see. We will see. It'll be interesting. It should be good.
I need the Hawks to win because this is their only shot. If they make Nate McMillan their coach, which they will, they're never seeing this again. It's just not going to happen. They're going to need to make a switch.
It's from a Sonics fan.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Nate McMillan was a great player. He's a great developmental coach. He is not an X's and O's. In the moment, switch up your stuff to make sure you can get a quality shot. He's not that guy. And I mentioned it before. And so the Hawks got to make the most of this, because if they sign him to a 5-year contract, they're done till they fire him. Yeah. And the Atlanta fan base is going to be pissed, and it's not the Hawks' fault. It's not the players' fault. What happens after the season is not their fault. They did way more than they should have this year. And kudos to them. Next year they'll be as good as they are. And it'll be fun, and they won't get this far, and that will suck because they won't deserve the backlash. Is all I'm saying.
It's hard to argue with you. I mean, is he Tyronn Lue? But Tyronn Lue just had LeBron James. What? I mean, he's not even that good.
No, Tyronn Lue will make adjustments. You'll see him. He's throwing everything together for the Clippers. Do you think Nate McMillan would do that with the Clippers? He'd be like, we don't have Kawhi. Who's the next guy that plays that position? Great, you're starting. There would be no, we're going to run out 2 point guards at the same time that are both defensive geniuses but can't shoot. There's no way he'd be like Rondo and what's that scrap? Patrick Beverly are on the field on the court at the same time. He would never do that. That's never a thing Nate McMillan would ever even think to do. But Tyronn Lue does it all the time. No, they're nowhere near the same people. He's what's the guy before Tyronn Lue? The guy that coached the Cavs before and then went to Brown. He's Mike Brown. He's Mike Brown.
Yeah.
He's that kind of coach.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. He's defensive minded for a shooter. Oh, yeah. He's a very defensive minded guy. He reminded me of Elliott on the Spurs. Those kind of specialists. Again, back then the 3-point guy was a specialist guy. He only got the ball 5 to 8 times a game to make shots. Yeah, like I like Nate McMillan too. I think like he doesn't get enough credit, but he also doesn't get his teams over the hump. Like they're kind of just there. He's a good builder, but he's not a good finisher.
Nate McMillan as a player was an amber ale, right? Well crafted, well manufactured. You know what you're getting, but as a coach, he's a brewer. Is like, no, we make ambers and browns. It's 2021.
Well, that's all we do.
We focus on the craft. We do well made old school beers. We don't want to make a hazy. We don't like these imperial stouts. We don't know why you're putting things in barrels.
We don't even like the word IPA.
Yeah.
We don't even like those letters.
Unless you're using caramel malt, we are not making an IPA in this thing. No. Those classics. That's who he is as a coach. He's like, yeah, I got known as an amber, and that's what we're gonna make. We're gonna make ambers. Like, but people want like a flash and some like style and substance. Like, no, we make classic beers for classic drinkers. It's like, you were gonna go out of business. That's Nate McMillan.
We love your laurels and what you stick with, but you're not a good business model and you're going to fail. Yeah. Yes, I agree with you.
I'm the worst. So I guess finals, we're looking at the Bucks versus the Suns.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
I think we agree.
You know, it's Bucks Clippers.
Which I'm surprised we agreed. I really thought you tried to slip on me. I thought you were taking the Hawks there.
Look, I'd love to see the Hawks do it. I think if they're ever going to do it, now's the time.
I think we both. I think, like I said, I think it'd be the better matchup. It'd be more fun to see the Hawks make it. But I think it's just the Bucks are too much. I mean, again, I feel like my thing with them is that they always like don't live up to their expectations. They're built. They know everybody knows who should be shooting on that team last minute. Everybody knows who should be playing defense on the best guy. Everybody knows that Drew Holiday is going to facilitate. They have a true facilitator now,
but he also hit that clutch shot and played that defense on KD at the very end.
Yes,
Drew Holiday earned his paycheck in 2 quarters.
Drew Holiday was how it felt to get Mike Bibby from Jason Williams. Like it was like, of course that guy's good. Jason Williams is good, but Bibby gives you those exact things you needed. And it was like, of course he's going to elevate. He's a better shooter, and he's going to be a better facilitator.
He's not as flashy. He's not going to have the highs, but he's not going to have the lows.
Yeah, right. He's not, exactly. You're going to get even kill. He's going to lead. He's a leader. He's not going to fly off the handles. As much as you love the other guy's beloved, you need structure. And Drew Holiday, I think, brings that for them. I think he's going to be great again down the stretch. He just is that DNA. He's a defensive-minded point guard who facilitates great, and I love that he just makes everybody better. It's about everybody else first and playing defense. So I think like he fits that mold perfectly. Where now I'm losing his name, who he replaced. He was more offensive. Eric Bledsoe. He's a more offensive point guard, and then obviously he wasn't even great at that down the stretch. But I feel like they just upgraded in all the right directions of what that identity of that team is, and Bud Holzer is obviously getting the best out of him. And I think it's their trophy to lose, and I think we will see. But it's been a great playoff so far, and the fact that there are 4 teams in it that haven't won or haven't even been to a finals in at least like 40 years, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's great. I'm very excited to see what happens. I don't care. I have no skin in the game. I'm just excited to watch good basketball and see what happens with these tremendous players going up against each other with the same skill sets, with completely opposite skill sets. Like, either way, it's fun. I don't care who wins. I just want to watch it. As long as it's fun. As long as it's not the 76ers Hawks series anytime, I'm down.
Yes, I really don't want the Clippers, I think, again, because I just think it's the worst of the basketballs that are left. But also, I just, but it would be nice to have like a villain But the Suns they look too good.
They look too
They
good.
just and they haven't even got their main piece yet. If they Chris Paul is just they're gonna blow them out by 30. Yeah, they're gonna win by 30. They're gonna win by 30, and so if he plays game 3, they are in big trouble.
I like everybody in like the top 9 in their rotation. They all do like incredible things. Their future
very
so
athletic.
bright.
Yeah, they're again another one where if you're a Kings fan, you're just really disappointed in like not having all that athleticism and just not a leader really. You need a good coach.
Ayton wouldn't be DeAndre Ayton if he was a King. Let's face facts. There's a developmental issue.
No, right. But, which again, you don't know what. Like, to be a Kings fan, it's like, what do you do about that? Like, when you know, like, they're not gonna get developed right. It's like, what do you do? I mean, you hope that you can get a Cousins that is just better minded, works harder. Like, you just hope that there's a guy who's Kawhi and just doesn't need to be told what to do and just figures it out. Like, I don't know.
I mean, they did force him to go to shooting classes, but
I mean, yeah, I mean, true. I mean, like, could we land a Carlisle? Like, could we land like a good leader? Like,
even if we did, you know what we'd do? We'd railroad him. We'd set him up with like bad trainers, bad assistant coaches.
Right.
We'd constantly like say, "We don't want you running this offense. I'm the owner. You do what I tell you to." It would just so depressing. It's so cancerous, depressing. Top to bottom, that there's just like
no matter what owner's there, it's like it's just it doesn't seem like they want to figure it out.
As much as the Maloofs got power hungry at the end, at least like they had a chance of winning stuff before they got crazy about it.
Yeah. They made the move, but see,
Vivek came in and is like, I already know how this works, and I'll show you. And he's been that way since the beginning.
Well, and that's, I think, the only way to build one nowadays is how they kind of did it. Was like, yeah, you go through the draft, but you also need to get lucky and take a chance on a guy that everybody says doesn't have anything left. And that was kind of Chris Webber with the Bullets.
Mm-hmm.
And you were able to like kind of rejuvenate his career at the perfect point in his prime. And you got like good, 6-7 years out of him. So
pair him with a bunch of great passers. Give him Vlade Divac, give him Jason Williams, give him Mike Bibby, give him Doug Christie. Like, really, they gave him the perfect complements of players. And the Kings don't do that. They don't believe in complementing. They feel like they need to overpower on one skill set now. And it's just... Anyway, the point is, playoffs are going to be great. And, as a Raiders fan,
Kings
I'll tell you that until owners figure shit out, you just do the same mistake.
You just ride.
For 23 years. I'm at least... Wait, hold on. How long has it been? I mean, I know we went to the Super Bowl in like 2002, but that's not when we were good. We were good in 2001, and but that was based on draft picks from 1996. So I'm at 25 years. 25 years since we've made decisions that were based around building a team.
Poor Ben.
So, and now with the Kings, we're at what, 17 years? 16 years?
17 years, yeah.
Fuck, man.
It's bad. It's bad. Again, like, you have that formula. You think people could figure it out. It doesn't happen so far, but I'm still hoping. I'm still hoping for the best. We'll see what they do. The lottery happened.
Oh, yeah.
The Pistons got the number 1 pick.
They'll ruin it.
The Warriors ended up getting the 76ers pick.
Nice.
So they had 2 picks. Oh, they got the Minnesota Timberwolves pick, excuse me, because the Minnesota Timberwolves pick was protected for the top 3, but they ended up in 5. So Warriors got 2 picks in the top 14. Like, they need them.
Yeah.
But they'll probably use that to trade for somebody, I'm sure.
And my Thunder got the 6, 16, and 18. Look at us go. 3
Look
picks in the top 18.
Guys.
And we made that trade for some reason.
For Chris Paul. Yeah, that was awesome. Good job with that.
We got Kemba Walker, and we'll be like, he's going to leave. We'll rebuild his value, and then we'll kick him out.
But again, that's the Chris Paul method. Is that he's going to make you better, but how good are you going to actually be?
Be better. That's the real question. But yeah, that's enough of that. Usually we do a segment called Canning Trays, but we kind of threw this together last second. I didn't look at many beers. There's a lot of them.
I have not.
We have
There's
Canning
a lot.
Trays. Go drink a beer.
Drink a beer. There's a lot of beers out there, again, supporting good causes, supporting Pink Boots, supporting Black Lives Matter and Juneteenth.
New releases of Black is Beautiful coming out. People are doing their
Black is Beautiful is coming out.
Barrel aged stuff. So check those out.
So definitely check those out. Get your local stuff. There's a lot of great beer coming out. A lot of anniversaries. So
New Glory's anniversary is coming up. I think this weekend or the weekend after.
Yeah,
tons of stuff. Just
doing mixed 4-packs. I think too. Yeah. I think that's the new thing going around. Yeah, give me variety. I'll take it. Yeah, the more different beers I can have, I'll take it. Let's do this.
Yeah. We aren't doing bottle shares right now. It's stupid.
Yeah, right.
We're not drinking the same beer 4 times. Are you kidding me? This is 2021. We're not drinking the same beer 4 times. This is an untapped world. We're just living in it.
Not with the technology we have now. Yeah, let's do this.
Also, I did have a collaboration between AleSmith and Alvarado Street earlier called So Under, a West Coast IPA made with New Zealand hops. Delicious. Get it.
Of course. I love Joe's. Them.
So good.
One of the best experiences in San Diego. If you get it, go down to AleSmith. Find them. Find a little, they have a little cool little speakeasy where they carry all their barrel aged beers, where you could sip on them in there and check out some cool memorabilia from Tony Gwynn. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. One of the best times I've ever had at a brewery. Check them out. They're great.
Yeah. And so I think that's about it for this episode. Don't forget to slide into our GMs with your players you want to hear us compare to beers you want us to compare to players, teams to breweries, styles to eras, all that fun stuff. You let us know. Email us at pleasedunkresponsibly@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram at pleasedunkresponsibly, on Twitter at pleasedunkpod. It's PLZ Dunk Pod. We'll be back with probably some mid-series. I guess technically this was already a mid-series recap because the Suns are taking in 4, but maybe an Eastern Conference recap along with the trades and weird stuff, a little bit more rumored mongering.
Yeah, we'll kind of let this marinate and see where how quickly these series move, but we should be getting hopefully a finals preview.
There will be a finals preview.
There will be a finals preview. Yeah, we'll be able to talk about that, all the things that has transpired since then. And any major coaching changes or anything like that. But hopefully new beers are out and we're tasting them and trying them and having a great time. This summer is hot.
It's hot. Drink some beers. Cool, refreshing beers. Don't drink those stuff. I mean, you can. Go for it. Anyway, that's the episode. I've been your host, Ben Rice.
And I'm Phil Webster.
Reminding you
to please dunk responsibly.
Jesus.